Hey everybody, it's Taki117 here, back with Star Quest. It looks like our Kerbals have decided to strap one of their own to the top of this, what appears to be a leftover missile. As soon as they've started the countdown. Now this rocket doesn't look like it can go very far. So we'll see what they do with it. Listening in on some of the capsule communications going on here as this rocket lifts slowly into the air. At least our Kerbal seems to be enjoying himself down here. We've gotten a test pilot. Still ascending straight up. We're not quite fast enough. Alright, we can start pitching over now. Picked up quite a bit of roll here. That will dampen itself out as we ascend. As the atmosphere gets thinner, our grid fins down here will have less purchase. Meters downrange and already traveling at Mach 0.5. This rocket is following our standard descent path. I do have RCS thrusters on the side of the upper stage here for guidance. Now we're starting to roll. This is actually a good thing. Maybe not necessarily so much for our Kerbal inside, but for the rocket itself, because this is a process known as spin stabilization. And basically what you do is you spin your rocket, and any inaccuracies, imperfections in the glide path get corrected as your rocket spins. See it traveling fairly straight, but there's a little bit of a wobble there. Still oscillating. We're no longer spinning, that's good. We're now 27 kilometers in altitude, and our first stage has burned out. So deploy that first stage. Activate our second stage. Uranus. Burning our second stage engine that will get us to orbit and return us home. That is the important part, is we must come back. Now there's no power generation on board, there's no... Let's go ahead and turn the lights on and take a crew report. Don't need that, so I'm just going to reset that then. We're going to coast up to near Apoapsis. Let's get our maneuver planner out here. We want to circularize at the next Apoapsis and execute it. Take 1,000 meters a second to circularize, but we can do it. Part of that is poor flight planning, because in order to circularize your orbit, you must be going faster. You must be going faster horizontally than gravity can pull you down vertically. So, and of course it takes a while to build up that speed normally, and that's sort of the purpose of the gravity turn, is this gradual pitch over maneuver. It's not even really a pitch, you just kind of get off vertical and you let the gravity do the rest, so that your rocket builds up horizontal velocity as you're building up vertical velocity as well. Turn the capsule around here and give him a 180-degree roll. Roll over so you can watch the Earth go by. And we are going to spend one orbit. As you can see, I have a contract for a couple of satellites, polar orbits, so we're going to spend one orbit going around. I should have enough power for that. There we go. Yeah, I have plenty of power. So now we're going to just a little quick burst. Turn that off to conserve power. Alright, and we've hit the atmosphere. Ditch that. Oh dear. That was unexpected. It seems to have put us into a tumble. It's not really... Oh, I mean, I can correct it. That's not an issue. But what should happen is the aerodynamics of the pod should take care of it for me. You already see it slowing down here. And the aerodynamics are taking over and pointing me retrograde. As we fall, let's check our parachute here. Yep, that's good. Here we go. We're starting to build up heat as we compress. Starting to build up heat as we compress the air in front of our pod. And you can see this pod has a built-in heat shield. Passing over. Where are we passing over here? Oh, passing over Mexico. Looks like we're going to land in the Gulf. See, I have this trajectory prediction here. Puts us right off the coast of Louisiana. Not a bad thing. Makes recovery easy. There's... You can see our built-in heat shield is starting to ablate away, which is what's giving us this very nice re-entry trail here. Slowing down, moving at Mach 6 now. Continuing to fall. And this is at 1 times time warp. Things are exploding somewhere else. Not entirely sure where things are exploding. Oh, probably up there. Into this shockwave here. Here's our service module up there. Looks like it's broken apart into a few different pieces. And that will eventually burn up or harmlessly land somewhere else. Still coming down. We're at Mach 4.5 now. Slowing down considerably. No longer hypersonic, which is nice. Still compressing that air in front of our capsule though. Looks like that's starting to abate as we reach Mach 3. Still in the upper atmosphere. Let's see if I can do a crew report. No, do not need a crew report from here. We're falling. You can see the shadow of the clouds over there. No, that's a landmass. Not sure where that is. There's the Gulf of the United States. It looks like I'm going to be a little short of... no, I guess not. Texas and Louisiana Peninsula here. We are subsonic. Just going to fall at 5 kilometers. Sea level altitude, or rather 5 kilometers radar altitude. We are going to deploy our chute here in just a moment. If I activate the chute, a little bit of a delayed activation there. Now at 500 meters sea level altitude, it will fully deploy. Just like that, slowing us to a very comfortable 6.5 meters a second. About 50 meters before we touch down. There we go. Our intrepid Kerbals have successfully put one of their own into orbit. So now we're going to recover this vessel and see what the next mission holds. So I'm going to take a moment to talk about this mod. It's called Final Frontier. And I like it because it gives my Kerbals ribbons and it tells me sort of what they've accomplished. Like, Jeb is splashed down. I made a landing on Earth because of that. I experienced an acceleration of 3 Gs for 3 or more seconds. He achieved Mach 2 below 30,000 meters, which isn't hard, especially if you're coming back from, Mach 7 plus in orbit. First Earth orbit ribbon, and the first Kerbal in space ribbon. So let's carry on and see what other ribbons we can get other Kerbals. And here we are back on the launch pad with what looks like a 2 Kerbal capsule. And our first Kerbal complained that he got a little lonely, so we've decided to send 2 of them up. Unfortunately, the nature of our mission requires a night launch. We are going to be rendezvousing and eventually docking with with our Regina spacecraft that we put up last episode, or maybe it's been a couple episodes. But anyway, it looks like our Kerbals are starting the countdown. And liftoff. We do have liftoff. Cleared the tower. This rocket is once again on an old missile system. As we ascend start our gravity turn maneuver. You see those engines gimbaling down there. Slowly pitching over. Let's get these guys some lights. We're a little more. We're passing through a cloud, so the lights have dimmed. There we go, coming out the other side now. See them brightening up. Now, you'll notice this particular spacecraft, this is the Gemini Titan spacecraft, does not have a launch escape system. Now, of course, neither did our orbiter, but our orbiter was a close approximation, whereas this is a more historical recreation. But anyway, the reason for not having a launch escape system was because in the event, the first astronauts were largely test pilots. You know, they tested aircraft prior to, well, becoming astronauts. So what they did was, instead of, you know, putting a launch escape system on, they actually designed this capsule to be more like an aircraft. So it's the engines of the Gemini spacecraft were designed specifically for a launch escape scenario. They would decouple and fire, and then this was actually fitted with ejection seats. Altitude of 100 kilometers. Create and execute. I can. Get rid of our protective nose cone there. Something just exploded. That's not good. Hope it wasn't anything important. I can always check the flight logs later. Our second stage kicks us into orbit. Okay, so now we get to figure out where our target is. Ooh, looks like I am off. So I want to match planes with my target. Create that node. Okay, execute that node. Alright, I'm gonna be about 15 minutes here. I'll go ahead and warp around so you can get a good look at the spacecraft. Now this is the upper stage and then the docking stage. Delete that alarm. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and match planes with our target. Not sure what exploded during ascent. Has me a little worried because both my parachutes are still there. I wonder if I didn't just collide with my nose cone. I bet I just collided with my nose cone and no harm was done. Alright, so there's that. We're on approximately the same orbit. So now comes the fun part. Go ahead and add a maneuver there, and I'm actually going to bring this isn't helping. There we go.
Okay, so remember Falconer while he EVAs? He's not while he was Taylor Steel.
So now I'm trying to get my separation down. Well, the problem is 1.7 kilometers. There we go. Right, so we're going to execute that node. That will bring us down to 1.7 kilometers. Take just a moment. Here we go. Now, of course, once again, this maneuver must be done on the far side. How much electric charge do I have? Oh, I have tons of electric charge. Okay. We have completed our maneuver. Now we're going to, let's see. Here we go, match velocities at the closest approach. Hopefully I'm not too far off. It just seems weird that I'm 128 kilometers away. Alright, here we go. Here we go. So, rendezvous is not a fast process. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the rendezvous this episode. I'm going to go ahead and ditch that stage. Oh, poop. I have less fuel than I thought I did. This is going to be interesting. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to do the rendezvous this episode, and the next episode we're going to go ahead and do the docking and return, because docking is not fast by any stretch of anybody's imagination. Fortunately, this particular engine is very efficient. So bringing my orbit down. Three, two, one, and complete. Alright, I'm gonna execute that node. Now, the main reason I'm doing the maneuver the way I am, so that when I get there, there's not a whole lot for me to do. Actually, let me see if I can see how far away I am. There it is, you can see the little silver dot as it whizzes past at about 30 kilometers. Make a little bit of a maneuver to correct that and get down to 0.2 kilometers. Looks like I went a little far. Oh. A little bit of an orbital correction here. And now down to 0.2 kilometers. So I think that's going to be all for this episode. I'm almost out of liquid fuel and oxidizer, and I will need at least some of that to get back. I should be able to refill from the Agena target vehicle over there. But until next time, I'm Taki117, and remember, it's only rocket science.